Hi, in this tutorial I will discuss how to conduct one sample variance testing using STATA. The screen you see the question. So I observe S&P 500 stock price data between June 1st, 2021 and May 27, 2022, and I would like to test whether H0 hypothesis of population standard deviation being 1% against the alternative hypothesis that the population standard deviation is not 1% at 95% confidence level. The screen you should be able to see the STATA package open, so I will upload the file, a data file, and I keep only S&P 500 stock price series. So first thing, I will generate daily return. I will denote it G_SP500, which can be generated as a ratio of current and last day price. _n-1 -1. And the first thing is I will construct a 95% confidence interval of the daily return population variances G_SP500 and level, and I indicate the confidence level. So on the table, which is generated by the STATA, I see that 95% confidence interval for the sigma square is of standard deviation translates to 1.05% to 1.25%. And those two numbers I obtained by taking the square root of both sides of the 95% confidence interval of the standard deviation. So this is the confidence interval. So this is the lower bound. I take square root from 0.0001102, and that gives me 0.0105, which is 1.05%, and then I take the square root from the upper bound, which is square root from 0.0001565, and that gives me 0.0125, which translates into the as a percentile into 1.25%. So just observing this 95% confidence interval, we can conclude that 1% is not within this interval. So if I draw this 95% confidence interval, here is 1.05%, and here is 1.25%, and 1% does not belong to this interval. So this is the 95% confidence interval, and 1% is somewhere here. Okay, so this is 1%. So it would make sense if we can conclude that there is, it's not possible a standard deviation of the daily return to be 1%. But to do that, that's one way basically to answer the question. Alternative way would be to directly test using the chi-square testing, and now I will exactly do that. Okay, so on this screen you see the first line command and then a STATA output. So the trick which is done by the STATA command is st test. So this is here. Okay, so I will highlight this. SP500 equal double equal 0.01, which stands for 1%, and then I indicate the confidence level. So I want to do this testing at 95% confidence. So let's interpret a little bit data. So here you see several important results or the numbers. So first one is the test statistic, which is equivalent to step one we did in PowerPoint presentations. And then we have 3 alternative hypotheses, which is tested using this data set. So we are interested about the middle one, which is alternative that standard deviation is not 1%. And the important number we need to have a look is 0.0018, which is basically the p-value, so which indicates the probability of type 1 error, which is below the acceptance level, which is 5%. So that's why, since the type 1 error is below the acceptance level, if we reject the H0 hypothesis, that's exactly what we should do in order to minimize the type 2 error. That's why the data supports to reject H0, rejection of H0 hypothesis. So we conclude that there is enough evidence to reject that the standard deviation of daily S&P 500 stock price returns are not 1%. Okay, so and now it's nice to have a look at the alternative, which is indicated in the 3rd column here. So this basically says the alternative that daily standard deviation exceeds 1%, and important is to observe the p-value, which is extremely low number. So that's why we can make a decision to reject H0. So data supports data provides the evidence that sigma standard deviation of daily returns exceeds 1%. However, there is no support of the hypothesis that the daily standard deviation is less than 1%, because the p-value is extremely high, it's 99%. So if we reject the H0 hypothesis, then the likelihood of type 1 error is almost 1%, almost about exceeds 99%, which is unacceptable. So we reject, we accept H0 if the alternative is less than 1%. We reject H0 if the alternative is that standard deviation, daily standard deviation is 1% or it exceeds 1%. I think that concludes the testing, one sample testing of the variances. I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much for your attention.